Hi there guys, and welcome back to the Morehammer podcast, your fortnightly Warhammer podcast where we talk all things Warhammer Wargaming. I am one of your hosts, wargamingluke, wayfarer of the blue skies. X does not mark the spot. And we've got Ben, the Benergy, 90% geek joining us as well, also a wayfarer of the blue skies. Longer than me and Si, actually. He's been up there for a while. So
not a user of Brand X anymore.
No. And we have Simon, aka Hobby Waffle, a man of the small folk, I believe. Into his imperialist nowadays. Yeah. We'll get into that in a bit.
Large scale models, as far as I'm concerned.
Also a wayfarer of the Blue Sky Fleet as well, Si now.
Yeah, so, X is my ex.
Yes, literally. Yep. Welcome back, guys. If you're listening to us on Spotify, of course, make sure you're following us over there. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed here. And, of course, in our Discord, make sure you jump over there as well. The link will be in the description below for that. Come and chat with us, and you can hammer X over there with us as well. And, of course, as we've just said, we're all on Blue Sky now, so come and join us over there, because apparently the revolution has begun. So, why not come and join us for chat over there? The coffee tastes better. Indeed.
There's far less spam.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we were saying, weren't we, Ben, before we'd come on to record, actually, was Warhammer. If you're anybody from Warhammer's listening, get an official account going on Blue Sky. Goddammit, you're behind the times here.
Missing out.
Yeah, I mean, all of us have signed up to it. So where are you guys? Come on.
I haven't looked at X in basically a week, and I have no idea what's going on with Warhammer community.
What are you doing with that extra 10 minutes every morning where you're not blocking porn bots?
I mean,
you assume that I block them.
I hadn't been on X for like the last 2 to 3 days, and the last time I was on it, it was quite quiet. But then I jumped back on this morning, and it was pretty bare for like the Warhammer community. I mean, most people from our community have jumped over to Blue Sky now. So if you haven't joined the revolution, join us. Yeah,
Hashtag nerdlings. Come and join the nerdlings.
Indeed. But I think before we jump into sort of topics for this week, we'll catch up on what we've been doing in the hobby, guys, since it's been a couple of weeks. Shall I go first this week? Because I usually end up going last, don't I? Shall I jump in first? I've actually been up to a fair bit, to be honest, so I'll rattle through this lot. I've got a lot done.
He's hobbying now. He's building stuff as we're recording.
I know. I've really been rattling up. Although, to be fair, the last 2 weeks I haven't really played any games. I was meant to play the new edition of Kill Team. That fell apart because everybody in the Kill Team community local to me was like, apparently you do need more than just the new rule books and stuff, because you need like the new terrain bits and stuff that come with the set. So, well, that's kind of put me off for the time being. I've got lots of other stuff I can get on with, so I'll get to it at some point, but no games for me last couple of weeks. However, I have been painting and building lots of stuff. Painted my first unit of Kroot. I've been building a lot of my new sets for that. I've got the Farstalker Kinban built and painted, ready to play the new edition of Kill Team, putting all the effort into it, and then it's I've got to finish some basing on them, but I got them ready for it. Never ended up playing it. I busted my ass to get them ready, and then couldn't do it. But yeah, I've gone with kind of a more kind of darker green theme on the skin, and then I've gone with like the orange kind of tips to the spine, the dark spines. And I'm excited to kind of do some of the bigger models as well and play around with that effect on them. So I'm looking forward to more of that.
You have a forest base on them as well, is that right?
Yeah, kind of like a coniferous forest kind of look on the base, but I've got to add some more tufts of grass and whatnot and stone and stuff. So that will come. The moment I realised I wasn't going to be able to play the new Kill Team edition was the moment I stopped basing them. So that'll come up again. But then Skaven project continues, Rat Ogres, and the new Master Molder mini, which was really fun to paint actually, because you know how you've got like the new Molder minis have got all sorts creeping out of the like other Skaven like creeping out of the minis themselves. They're great. So it makes them even more fun to paint because you're kind of painting the details and then you're working out that there's another head popping out somewhere else, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, it's
I'll
like
go
a
back for
scathing
that.
gremlin that's just been fed after midnight.
Yes, yeah, literally.
No,
That is
it's when they
exactly
get wet. It's when they get wet that the little gremlins can't come
right.
bubbling
Sorry,
out.
yeah.
If you feed them after midnight, then they turn into gremlins.
I really
We get the
hope
rules
somebody,
right, Si. Otherwise, we'll be ankle deep in gremlins.
I really hope somebody adds a new mini with that lore into Skaven. That'd be so fun. You add
What, don't
water
get
to
them
if they get
wet?
wet, they multiply. That'd be great.
You can
But
just
yeah, that
imagine
was
like 60 clan rats singing New York, New York outside of the Imperial town.
and then
Gracie with glasses and a
the,
little Frank Sinatra hat.
I got the other Gracie done as well because there's two now. But this is the old one. I got him painted now as well. I think he still looks as nice as the newer one, which I know we've
He's
said
cool.
before.
With a little rat perched on top of his staff as well. It's cute.
You always got to have the little perched rats, don't you, on these hero models? And same goes for the Warlock Bombardier. So I got him done as well. So I've been very busy painting and building, and I've built various other crew from the what's it called? Crew Hunting pack box.
Oh yeah, like the rampagers and stuff.
Yeah, and then also in other news, my D&D group has sort of collapsed at the moment. So I've said to them that I've not been like the what do you call it? Not dungeon master.
Games master.
Games master, I guess. Yeah, for D&D, but I could easily field a campaign and game of Warhammer Quest. So I'm building and painting up Warhammer Quest as well to be able to run for my D&D group. So that should be good fun. But I'll have to give updates on that in future weeks. Si, do you want to go next? You have pictures this week, so I've got those up here, so I can do that for you. As I said at the beginning, man of the small folk, take us away, Si.
Medium-sized folk.
Yeah. So I've been back on Legions Imperialis, the Space Marines from the starter box. I've been painting up, so I've done those as Ultramarines. So since the Dark Mechanicum got revealed the other week, the Warhammer Day, and then the subsequent days with the old War of the Worlds style Stalkers, I thought I've got to have those, but I can't buy more Legions Imperialis stuff while my Space Marines are just sat sprayed blue and not doing anything. I painted some of them. So I decided to get as many of them finished as I could. So I've done all the missile launcher guys, which you can see on the screen there. And I've done the plasma gunners as well, but I don't have a picture of that. I did post one on Discord yesterday where I painted a tiny Ultramarines Legion symbol on one of the knee pads. I don't know how I did it. I'll never, ever be able to do it again. And I painted Legions. I painted the shoulder studs as well. I don't know how I did that either. The problem is I've set a precedent now. I need to do the rest of them like that, and I don't know how I did it. And I painted Legion symbols on the little shoulders as well. I can't even paint them on a normal size Marine, so it was a challenge.
Do you reckon you'll pick up any of the Dark Mechanicum stuff, Si?
Pardon?
Do you reckon you'll pick up any of the Dark Mechanicum stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I ordered the book that weekend, the Rise of the Dark Mechanicum, so I've ordered that.
Very nice.
I may have ordered the Mechanicum box set as well, but you can't use any of the automata for the Dark Mech because presumably you use the Stalkers and stuff like that instead. But you can use all the tech thralls, the tech priests, some of the beasts and machines, but you can't use like the Castellarks and Thanatar. So I'll probably just sell those, to be honest. But I do want to make a Dark Mech Force because they just look fantastic. Got a real War of the Worlds vibe going on, so I decided that I'd have to get the Marines finished before I even attempt anything else. So that's why I've been doing this. So this last couple of weeks, I've done the Stingwings. They're not painted yet, but I've undercoated them. And then I've just been doing the Marines. All the bases were already done, thankfully. So all I had to do was paint the Marines and get them on there. So I'm going to finish the Marines this week and then do the Rhinos and the Predators. And I forget what the other one's called. Scarans. Nah, it should be done. I've done the Dreadnoughts already. They've been posted.
Well, this way you'll have two forces as well. Once you've got them and the Dark Mech done, then you'll have like a good force and a bad force. And if someone's up for a game, you can lend them an army. And like one of
I did have a look. I think I do need a few more Marines. So I've got some air support and I've got Titans, but
if you do get
I'm not sure how much I'll be able to put together. I think I can put together a list with Titans and air support. I should be all right.
If you do end up with a couple of lists, I'd be up for coming up and having a game, because I'd like to at least try out Imperialis, I think. Just
Yeah,
to see if
yeah,
I had a go with
definitely.
it and that. I was going to ask, the bases, are they the bases that come with them, or are they custom?
No, they're the ones that, excuse me, they're the ones that
come
come
with
in the
it.
box.
Oh, that's cool.
So I did a painting video for the bases a while ago. So I painted them all in one go, using the same like city scheme to match the, do you know the tiles that they did, the cityscape roads?
Yeah.
So I did a painting tutorial based on that color scheme, and I just batch painted them all in one go. I've got quite an easy method of doing it. So they've all been sat ready. So thankfully, I've no basing to do at all. I can just paint the Marines and stick them on.
That's
I like
cool.
that they do those bases. That's pretty cool. Okay, Ben, I have some images for you as well, so you can always say what you've been up to.
I've been painting Tyranids. So as you know, I got into converting up a Tyranid hive fleet for Battlefleet Gothic. I think last video I had the cruiser that was just sharks fitting across the bottom of the screen, like an outtake from Jaws. But now I've slapped some colours on one. So this is one of the kind of Vanguard escorts that kind of dribbles towards the enemy and then gobbles up the enemy ship with its feeder tendrils and kind of jabs its little mandibles in. And then the other escort that I have converted up, there we go. This is the kind of more kind of escort gun drone. So this one is basically just like a giant floating weapons battery hurtling along behind the hive ship. And I've just literally converted this out of one of the Barbcourt guns. We've stuck some spine fists on it for engines. But I looked at it.
Cool.
It looks like it's got a stinger tail.
I didn't even notice that was spine fist that you used on that. So it's worked nicely.
Well, when they're painted as well, the bits just all kind of start. Once you blend the color schemes in, it just all kind of blends together and looks like one creature. So yeah, I'm really chuffed that these are coming along.
Yeah,
been working on those, working on my orc fleet, and the plan is to do a battle report: Nids versus orcs in the Orctarius sector.
I need to go up to side to play Imperialis and down to you, Ben, to play Battlefleet.
Definitely, I've got like 6 fleets on the go at this point.
Yeah. I've introduced size.
You play Battlefleet Gothic, and I'll film it.
Definitely,
true, yeah.
It'd be awesome.
I think part of your title also has to be something to do with like leader of the fleet or something like that, Ben. I think at the beginning of the podcast, I've already
Rear
introduced
Admiral
size. Yeah,
Admiral of the Fleshy Fleet.
Oh no! Oh dear. But was that all your updates, Ben?
Yeah,
now, yeah. I know you've been working on your battle fleet, so
been working on my battle fleets. I've got a video coming up, which is actually how to convert these. So kind of how to, which is taking me a long time to edit because it's nearly an hour long. But no, the other thing was we closed down my wife's big kind of industrial unit that she'd been using because we obviously we've been building the meadery in the back garden, the small kind of craft business version, but that means we had to close down the industrial unit. So the last 2 weeks has just been moving stuff and cleaning and everything, ready to hand the keys back. So that's why I haven't gotten much hobby stuff done, unfortunately.
Yeah, your other work life where you're a dwarf miner, yeah.
Yes. Dig.
That's it.
Dig.
But yeah, thanks for the hobby updates, guys. Lovely to see what everybody's getting up to. And obviously, for those of you listening, watching, join us in the Discord. Always love to see what the community are up to, especially around Morehammer, obviously, community. We love to see what you guys are up to. So share with us over there. And obviously on Blue Sky, for sure. But Ben, what is it time for?
And now the news.
Lovely stuff. We've got quite a few reveals and things to catch up on from the last couple of weeks, actually. The first of which surprised me, actually. I don't know about you guys. Wasn't expecting this, but obviously we know nowadays you kind of get... They don't call them starter sets now, the first sets that come out for new editions, do they? They just have like a two-sided themed box, launch box. That's the right word, Ben, yeah.
Yeah,
and then
they do like a big launch box, don't they? And then for 40k, they did like the tiered...
The
starter
huge,
sets in there, and then same for Sigmar, but this is more like an introductory set, isn't it?
This is really cool. I'm really excited by this box.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, usually a week or two afterwards you get a revealed like a standard starter set, but it usually includes some of the minis and whatnot from the launch box, which obviously this is not. It's
minus a
completely
couple
different.
of characters.
Yeah. So I believe these two kill teams are the minis from the Heroes miniature
That's
series.
right. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
I think wave 2 and wave 3 of the Heroes
Of the new kill team
sets.
starter set. So you get a start handbook in the set, some MDF terrain, which is crazy. That's something
I
to
am
talk about in
that
itself.
that is literally one of the things I'm most excited about this
Yeah.
set. And I know it's a crazy thing to be excited about, but pre-painted MDF terrain, it's like a return to the cardboard. They even give the cardboard terrain from Second Ed 40k box a shout out in the article
Yeah.
because it is like that.
We actually have a community question related to this later on, so I won't touch on it too much. But I think we might see more of this for the smaller games.
This is definitely a test in the water box, I think, isn't it?
For sure.
Yeah.
See how people react to it, I think. You get all of these starter tokens, all that good stuff. And then, like I say, you've got the Space Marine team and the
Plague Marine.
The Death Guard.
Marine.
And really
Yeah,
interesting
Death Guard,
kill
Plague Marine
teams
team.
as well. Because the
Yeah.
Heroes models were made to be like a variety of different stuff. So this really does feel like
Makes sense.
like a an actual like kill squad. So you've got the sniper, you've got the heavy weapons gunner, you've got the combat dude, you've got the captain to lead it. It really does look really cool.
Yeah, I really like the guy who's yeeting the grenade. I want that miniature.
Did any of you guys pick up any of the Heroes series when it was coming out, or no?
Series 1, when it was still the original like Firstborn Marines, I picked up some of those because I was trying to get the captain at the time. So I picked up a couple of blind boxes just to see if I could get the captain, but I didn't.
It's been going on for a while now, though.
They have. I think we're on like Series 5. I was going to say the Death Guard. I'm fairly sure is Series 2.
Wasn't that the Blood Angels Series 2?
Blood Angels was Series 3. I was thinking. So I think
right.
these maybe the Primaris Marines, maybe Series 4.
Yeah, I think they're 4. Yeah. So were the Death Guard Series 2 then? Were they?
Yeah, the Death Guard were definitely Series 2 because I was doing a Death Guard army when they released them, but they didn't. Things didn't line up for me to get my hands on them at that point. So I'm very, very tempted by this box.
Yeah,
it's funny because like the skirmish games, I think are great if you're not fancying buying into a full army for some factions, you can sort of dabble in them. So like Plague Marines don't overly fuss me. I don't think I'd ever be interested in a full scale army, but the kill team, cool looking kill team, probably would be more likely to just explore it a bit. So that would be cool to maybe look at picking those up. And for anybody looking to start out, it's a great starter set. But other than that, I don't think there's much else to touch on. We'll talk a little bit more about the MDF terrain later on because I know somebody's touched on that with a question.
Yeah, I have a lot to say on that subject.
Yeah. So we can get into that later on. But we're going to move on to the world of Bloodbowl. And we did have a new gnome star player, Rowana Forestfoot.
Just because Sai is not allowed to have any money, like Games Workshop want all of his money.
I must
well, actually, another double meaning, Sai, for Man of the Small Folk. You have the gnome team, so there you go.
Yeah.
Such a cool model. Really
Very
is.
nice.
Yeah. Beautifully painted as well, I've got to say.
I can see many gnomes in this world fancying this this person for sure. Very beautiful gnome, but the mini is really nice. And like you said last time, I think we had one of these articles. The artwork's really nice.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, it's the same for the Dark Elf player, which I'm sure you're going to show in a minute, and for the Chaos Dwarfs. For each one, there's like a little bit of cartoon style artwork underneath as well, and I just love the way they've done it, the art style.
Yeah, it is really cool.
I mean, I'd be tempted to get this just like to use it for like an old world miniature as well. Like I could easily imagine using her as like a wizard for it's a halfling wizard for the Empire or something.
I think I prefer it to Rodney Roachbait, to be honest.
It's a really, really nice sculpt.
Definitely a different look and for the team again, and you've got another forest animal, or another few forest animals added in. I wonder how much we'll have by the end.
How many gold pieces is she? Does it say?
I was just looking at that. To be fair, I couldn't see.
I don't think it's saying
it.
Sadly, I don't think they've touched upon that yet. But they've said about basically when she goes to leap over, she gets to re-roll the.
Oh, no, there she is.
160,000
at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, didn't realise it carried on at the bottom. So there you go. So yeah,
I
we'll have
can't
to see.
remember how much Rodney is now, so it makes no point.
No, that's true.
Makes no
I'll have to have a
difference.
look in a minute, see if I can find it. But we did also have, I think this was today. Yeah, it was today.
There's another one today, the Dark Elf one today.
Yeah, Return of a
Jeremiah
Legend,
Cool.
Jeremiah Cool. Yeah, and there he is. It's going to be in Forge World resin, I think it said.
I am not convinced on this model. I
No.
think the artwork is cooler than the model.
I
Yeah.
completely agree.
I think the face isn't. Face is a bit gaunt rather than.
Ew.
Yeah.
It's
Rather
more,
than that,
it's
which
more
is,
vampire
you
than
know.
it is dark elf for me.
Yeah.
That's true. That's actually true. Yeah. I mean, returning, but I mean, like he's going to be more of I think now.
They say
open
returning.
version.
Did he have a model back in the day?
I've no idea. I've no
Certainly
idea.
during second edition Blood Bowl, he didn't. I don't know if he did perhaps during the original first
Unless
edition.
they're just kind of saying
I
returning.
can't remember, but 320,000
320,000
gold pieces as well. I can think about stuff to spend my money on a dark elf team.
They are such. As somebody who's built a few of them because they came in the Dungeon Bowl box, they are some of the worst models I've ever had to assemble. Like the comparable to trying to put together the Goliath ganger with the cigar. It's that level of annoyance.
Yeah, when I built mine, the witch elves drove me insane.
It's the individual spikes. Let's have every single spike on this model be a tiny individual piece that you need to kind of hold in place with tweezers in order to get it to work. No.
He's got an ability called the Flashing Blade, so it's like hit and run type thing. So he's meant to be quick, basically. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see if he's worth it. But let us know if
is a Golden Age Blood Bowl player. He was from the very first edition of Blood Bowl. Actually, I think the original miniature may have been better. Here we go. Oh, no, there we go.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
yeah, it actually really is. That's really cool. To be fair,
that's a better miniature, isn't it?
It actually is. That's not great for them, is it?
There we go.
I wonder if I imagine that was probably metal. Was it? Was it
yes,
metal?
it would have been lead.
Which is also probably
sorry.
better than Forge World resin. But there we go.
Whoever sculpted this new one, I'm sorry. I mean, the armor plates are quite nice, but that's kind of all I can say for it.
Yeah, sadly.
Especially when you put it next to Rowana. Rowana Forest Foot is such a nice sculpt by comparison.
Yeah. But from Blood Bowl to the world of Necromunda, and there's a lot of small stuff happening over there as well. A lot of small people over there. We have sort of the Leagues of Votan stuff getting expanded.
Alternative build for the Open League of Votan.
Mining for coal.
Dig your hole. Digging for coal.
So you got Exokin, Exosuits coming into Necromunda for. They already have some, I think, don't they?
They had the big exosuits. Now
they have the is it Vartigan Exo Driller? But these are like this is basically like a throwback to the old egg-shaped Exo armor.
Yeah, this is the old Terminator armor.
Yeah, so these have got more of like an industrially spacesuit style theme going on, haven't they?
So cool.
I love them. They're brilliant. I just wish they wouldn't go to, let's paint everything jade green. It's like, stop it, Games Workshop. Everything at the minute is painted the same shade.
I don't think anything does justice to jade green, personally.
Well, it's Sons of Horus. It's Sons of Horus green. It's just it looks good on Sons of Horus.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that Squats looks.
Yeah,
good.
I'm sure they ordered like 10 million liters of it instead of 10,000 and thought, oh Christ, we're gonna have to use all this now.
Now imagine these instead in JCB yellow.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
So good.
Dirty yellow. I think it was that Jaeger kill team that got revealed a while ago. The guys with the cloaks, and they had kind of a black and orange theme. That was a cool theme as well. I'd love to see these guys in.
Yeah, that's Hyperion Alliance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what my buddy Sean's done his Votan in that kind of scheme, and it looks awesome. I'll have to share some pictures from his on the Discord because his are really cool.
I love how we're going through this era at the moment as well of having these little buddies alongside these teams. They're great.
They're cute.
They're really cool.
The two different ones as well, isn't there? There's this one and there's one. Is it the one with little wheels?
Yeah, there's
robot
wars in Necromunda.
These are brilliant.
And now Sir Lancelot coming through. But but pretty cool. I always found that helmet's really weird.
I prefer the the under bit of the helmet. I don't really like this visor style thing they've got
Yeah.
going on, but the rest
I
of it
was
looks
saying-
really awesome.
Makes me think of the helmets from the movie Sunshine, where they've got that really
Haven't seen
narrow vision slit.
Oh God, that's an old one, isn't it? George Clooney, I think, is it?
No, you're thinking of Solaris. I'm thinking of the one with
That's
Cillian
it. I am,
Murphy
yeah.
by Danny Boyle.
Right, yeah. I was thinking of Solaris. You're right.
But yeah, interesting. And
Which itself
I've got
is
to be honest,
incidentally a remake.
if I was going to jump into Necromunda, I've always said that this would be, again, like we said earlier, ways of jumping into different factions. I'm
Yeah.
not fussed about a full force of League of Votan, but Necromunda, I would definitely look at getting these guys. They're very cool. Yeah.
I wasn't fussed on the idea of doing a League of Votan army until what I'm assuming is the next thing you're about to show. Here we go. Oh, this is such a good model. This is
Yeah.
such a good
These are awesome.
model.
The new trikes is what we're looking at, basically,
So good. So good.
for them in Necromunda.
You could get
And,
these wheels and stick them on the Hernkin Pioneer hover bikes. I reckon with minimal issue.
I just use these as Hernkin Pioneer bikes. And
Oh yeah,
That's true.
if anyone asked about the hover, I'd say no, it's just where they pop wheelies.
oh yeah.
It's just they're going that fast that they're getting tons of airtime.
Yeah.
Or it can do like a Back to the Future thing where the wheels flip outwards, like
They're just-
horizontal.
Oh yeah, that'd be
hover.
cool. Yeah.
No, I love these models. I keep looking at these and going, okay, if I just devil's advocate, if I did a Votan army, and it would just be like, how many trikes can I fit in?
You need to write to Father Christmas and ask him.
Father Squatmas.
such cool models.
But this is what everybody thinks as classic squats. Back
Squats
in
and
the day,
trikes.
for Leagues of Votan is the trikes. Yeah. So
And sunglasses.
Hmm.
that's that's exactly what it is.
These and the little scout drones. Look at those little cute little scout drones.
This is what I mean. You get it's the era of like the company models, whatever you want to call them. They're what they called tech mites, is what they're calling them. So
Yeah.
yeah, very cool. So
And I don't know if you've got it as the next one, but they announced today that the squats are getting their own book for
that's exactly
Necromunda.
what I've got up, Ben. You're way ahead of me there. So I've got it up here. So Halls of the Ancients.
It's about right,
which
that,
is
'cause I
for
bought Book of the
Squat
Outlands
prospects.
not so long back, so
Always the way in it. So they're getting their next book, I suppose.
It's basically the equivalent of like the House of books, but for squats.
yeah, everything's in it, isn't it, for the squats, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's all in one place now. Because I think
I'm
the
imagining
driller
there'll be lots
was in
of-
one book, wasn't it, and the rest of it was in another.
Well, I'm imagining that if you get it, you'll probably find there's a whole bunch of like characters and stuff in there as well.
Yeah, it said there's a couple of characters because I think in the squat rules was most of it was in Book of the Outlands, but I think one of them was in the Arantian succession. I think it was either the Exor driller or that big tank thing was in a separate book. And then we get upgrades as well. More sunglasses.
Yeah.
The upgrade sprue, yeah.
These are basically all the tools that were missing from the original kit, weren't
Yeah.
they? And the weapons.
Power
Pretty cool bits and bobs in here to use.
But yeah, imagine getting all this squat stuff and some of the Votan kits and just like smash. Like I'll keep the Hernkin dudes because the Hernkin like pioneers and stuff are really cool. But the Jaegerkin, not the Hernkin, the Jaegerkin, like the little ones with woolly hats and stuff.
Yeah.
But squat trikes, instead of the big chunky boys with hammers and shields, take those drill suits, convert them a little bit. It would be so good.
Well, I mean, one thing I want to do in the new year, guys, for our first episode in the new year will be we'll do some New Year's resolutions, and then at the end of the year we can kind of see if we've achieved them or not.
Much we failed.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
There's a
fun.
list of things that Simon's not going to do this year.
Yeah, but one of mine I think is definitely going to be start a Necromunda gang, and I think this might be the choice. So we'll see how we go with that. But the last one, the main one really that we've got that was also, I believe, today, is a roadmap for Underworlds. Now that we've obviously had the reboot
Roadmap
revealed. Yeah, of course.
This is like if you said, "Oh, there'll be 3 service stations on this road."
Yeah,
That's about the
So
equivalent of a roadmap.
they've got the roadmap up here. So to describe it for anybody who's listening and not necessarily watching, obviously they've confirmed here as well that Embergard is the core set for this season, edition, whatever. And then for the rest of 2024, we are getting quite a lot, considering that we're getting Embergard already. So we're getting the 16 returning warbands and their decks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get in 2 new warbands that aren't, I believe, part of the core game and their rivals decks. And then it's also saying, then 2025, it's saying 3 new warbands and rivals decks.
And that's in the first half of 2025.
Yeah, and more to come. So, exciting future, I suppose, for if you're an Underworlds fan or if you're looking at getting into it. And obviously they're saying, so that's on, well, not on launch, but this year, that's 20 new warbands. So, or 20 warbands to choose from.
There's a lot when you put it in those terms, I suppose, actually.
Oh, no, I definitely think it is. And then you get in, basically, they're reboxing the 16 existing warbands into Grand Alliance boxes. So I believe there's 4 in each.
Yeah. Do you know what? I saw these and I went, the problem I've got is that of each of these, like 4 Grand Alliance boxes, each one has a warband that I would definitely like to get the models for.
But not all of them.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. And what I almost wish, if Games Workshop is listening, what I would like them to do is to go, okay, we're going to do a pick and mix. Pick 4 warbands. So you get 4 warbands in a box. Same price as these other ones, but pick 4 warbands and we'll send you those 4 warbands as a bundle deal. That would be far more likely to get me into the new edition of Underworlds than making me go, okay, if I want to play Hexbane's Hunters, well, I've already got Ulthari's Guardians, and I don't really want the Lumineth, and I don't really want... I mean, I suppose I could convert the Caradon into my weird 40k squat project, but...
I mean,
yeah.
I'll have to look at this. Have these individual warbands been discontinued on the website now? Or is this just a way of buying them in a set?
Ulthari's Guardians have been gone for a while.
I know some of these
have. You can still get Thunderix Profiteers, I think.
Okay.
And Hexbane's Hunters were on in the Cities of Sigmar section previously.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll have to have a little look at that. But I mean, you got the Heroes set there. The Order set. So Hexbane.
They're all given specific decks as well, aren't they? So
yes.
One of them's a Taken Hold, one of them's Strike, one of them's...
Yeah, that's
course,
true.
Yeah, Thunderix Profiteers is Mastery, which is interesting.
And then you've got Ulthari's Guardians in there as well. But you got the Chaos set, Kargar's Ravagers, Ephlim's Pandemonium, the Dread Pageant, and Gore Chosen of Drom.
Which means that actually the Maggotkin one isn't in there. The Wormspat. Because you've got
the Dark Horse one that was in Nellwood.
No, that's true. We say that you've got 3 of the Chaos God specific ones. You've got Khorne, Slanesh, and Tzeentch specific ones, but not the Nurgle specific. Which, again, seems weird not to have the Wormspat as the 4th one and then have all 4 Chaos Gods represented.
Surely we're still going to have some individual boxes for warbands, but maybe they just want to advertise the new ones individually that are going to be released, I guess. So there is.
Well, the others are getting digital scrolls, aren't they? So
yeah. But you can also, we'll touch on in a minute. But you got the Death set is Headman's Curse, the Crimson Court, Canaan's Reapers, and the Grim Watch, which I think quite cool warbands actually from that one.
It is. Again, I've got one of them, and there's 2 of them that I'd like. I don't want the obviously that Bone Reaper one. And again, if I was to be allowed to do pick and mix, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'll have the Night Haunt one, please, and I'll have the Witch Hunter one. I'll have the Chaos Undivided one, and we've got Destruction coming up in a minute. I'll take like the first one here, the Loon Court, because I don't have that one, and that's quite cool.
Yeah, so you got Loon Court, Black Powder's Buccaneers, the Cunning Crew, and Morgoth's Crushers.
Again,
so no Skittershank's Claw Pack, no Sons of Velmorn, which I find quite interesting.
No.
But they're on the printed. They're on the cards. If you watch the battle report, I don't know if you saw it on Warhammer Plus or on YouTube. The introductory game that they did the live stream on. I think it was last Friday. As they were going through the cards, they were getting Notley to put the cards up on the screen. So it's all photographs now rather than artwork. And on each card, there was like the Sons of Velmorn. You could see there was various other warbands, so it kind of give you sort of an indication of which ones are coming back. But then looking at this, they're not in any of these 4 boxes. That's not to say they're not coming back, but I don't know.
Maybe those will be available individually. Who knows?
Or they're just going to get digital war scrolls.
Yeah, I mean, because all 16 of those are then represented. If you just put the cards, all 16 of those are represented in this box here.
Yeah, so Warbands of Embergard, they're calling it, and you can pick up like the card set and for the 16 Warbands here. But yeah, obviously they have said that you can also get some free online anyway, haven't they, on launch? So
I think that's the next bit further down is you can download some of the ones that they haven't featured. So like there we are, you can see like the Briars of the
really old ones, some of them, yeah.
Thorns of the Briar Queen
Guard
sort of thing.
And, yeah, the Fast Riders, all that sort of stuff. So yeah,
basically every warband that I own, then I'm gonna have to download.
yeah, that's what they're saying. Si, they've singled you out specifically there.
We've taken money from him for those, so we need to take money for him for
the Dark Oath one and the Dark Elf one as well. Man, yeah, I was gonna pillage that Dark Elf one for Blood Bowl anyway, because you know the assassin that's bent down with the 2 fingers touching the floor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That just needs to have the ball underneath those 2 fingers.
Oh, that's
like he's ready to pick up the ball and go for a run. Then the other Witch Elf is just perfect to get rid of the duplicate in the Dark Elf Witch Elf team.
That'd be a cool conversion.
The Witch Elf in the Dark Elf team.
Definitely.
Anyway.
That's a really cool idea.
But then, so all the question I was going to ask, really following up from this article that they released today, was sort of, obviously we haven't really had a chat about like where this can take Underworlds now. So like obviously you've got Embergard. There's a bit of a, would you say it's a reboot of Underworlds? That's what they've kind of called it, and they've tried to, obviously me and Si were talking about it before we came live to record. They've obviously tried to condense it a bit, make it simpler for people to start it up again, and obviously kind of promised that they're going to simplify the release schedule, right? So they're not going to crowd it with releases all year long where you're going to have to get
I think that's probably one of the biggest pluses, isn't it? It's a single starter set throughout the entire edition rather than one every 6 months, which was like I played Harrow Deep, a few games of that, and then they brought Gnarlwood out, and I never even got to play it properly.
I got Beastgrave, but again, same problem.
Yeah. And then it was 50 odd pages have been condensed down to 16 pages now, which I think is really good as well.
Yeah.
And then it was like, because of all the cards that have come out over all these new editions, and they've introduced new rules like traps and things like that. Some of the cards you're like, oh, God, what does that mean? Which book's this in? Or, where do I find this bit? What does this mean? So there's loads of like addendums and tables to follow and stuff like that. So it was a good game, don't get me wrong, but it did get a bit crunchy. So I think this is probably a good move. It's painful in the fact that all your cards that you've got are useless now, but I think it was a necessary evil, I think.
It was anybody is lying if they're saying that it wasn't slowly dying at a very, very small community at the moment. But hopefully, do we think this will spark a lot of interest again, kind of build it back up a bit again? Yeah.
I mean, the board... Go on.
Sorry, Ben. I was just going to say that the other change is the board change as well. I think is positive, stopping longboarding and stuff like that. So you can't just sit at the back now and, be one of those warbands that can earn glory for doing nothing. You can't do that anymore. Or well, not so much you can't do it, but they're going to be in combat quicker, aren't they now?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I suppose it depends on how they release the war. That will be a big factor for me, is how they release the warbands. Like, it looks as though you're going to get warbands individually, because they're saying, a new warband almost every couple of months throughout the first half of next year. But if that's how it's being done, great. If some of the older warbands are only going to be available in these 4 warband boxes, it's probably going to have a higher ticket price, which if a game that perhaps you only want to pick up one set of models to just, I'm only interested in playing, Sylvaneth or something. That means you're spending money on essentially 3/4 of that box that you don't want to use. I think if these 4 boxes are more like a splash release, something like, hey, check these out. This is a cool way of getting all of the Order warbands or all of the Chaos warbands, or a big chunk of them. That's cool. But if that's the only way of getting warbands, that's going to be a barrier to getting people into the game.
I wonder how they're going to release new boards and things. They haven't really said about anything like that, have they?
No, and my worry would be if it's the same way that like Blood Bowl pitches are done, like it's one and done. If you only get this is your only chance to get it, because
They seem to be doing a lot more of that, don't they, nowadays? GW, like limited stuff.
Well, it's the whole kind of FOMO marketing model, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's try and force people to spend their money now, which in the short term it works, but I think my concern is, as a long-term business model, people get worn out by it, people get exhausted by it, and then they go looking for game systems that don't make them feel anxious.
I think the fact that they've said, obviously, this Embergard as the core game, you're going to have that as the core set for a good amount of time. I think that's going to give it a massive boost. I've already seen a few people on Discord and socials places, people saying, I'm definitely looking at investing in this because I know it's going to be set now. I think that's what might give it a big boost this time around. So fingers crossed. It'll mean Underworlds can stick around for a lot longer. But because it hasn't been great recently. I'll definitely look at picking it up myself, I think, come this Christmas whenever it comes around. But yeah. Okay, guys. I think we'll get into some community questions if we fancy doing that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What was it? Look outside. Sorry.
I was going to say MDF terrain, but I just realised it's one of the community questions.
Yeah. I'll bring that in with this, and then we can have a good chat about that, because that'll be interesting what we have to say about it. But
Grognard muscles flexing.
I did promise Syndraconic after the last episode that I'd get back to his second question, so we'll bring up his first here. It says another one. What is your favourite memory or experience you've had that involves the hobby? I mean, this is a tough one, because I mean, for you guys, you've had longer than me playing the game, of course, playing Warhammer, so I'm sure have more memories than me as well. So you've got to condense down to something, I guess, of one or two memories. Any thoughts? Who fancy jumping in? I've got one on my mind.
Well, mine's not really a single favourite memory, because I couldn't pinpoint one, to be honest. I think mine is probably a favourite period, and it was like from White Dwarf, probably 1.7 something, through to like White Dwarf 200, that period. And it was when 40k was in 2nd edition, and then Titan Legions came out, and then also Bloodbowl 3rd edition at the same time, and then Necromunda as well. So there was like those 4 games all within like a 18-month period. And I'd found some people at school who were into the hobby as well. So I had a little core sort of blob of friends who was playing the game. And for me, that was when I was just really properly discovering the hobby. And I just remember all that excitement and catching the bus into town on a Thursday to get the latest White Dwarf, because it was monthly. And it's like, oh my God, it's actually out today. Let's go and see what's coming out. Because there's no internet. So you didn't know what was coming out, and you know what Games Workshop are like. You know, radio silence treats us like mushrooms. So it was like, oh, I remember getting the bus into town one dinner time at school, thinking I can make it there and back. So 3 of us went, and we went and got White Dwarf, and it was do you remember the Vindicare Assassin, the first one ever came out, the metal one? Yeah. We went and got the White Dwarf. Like, oh my God, look at this, a brand new assassin. And then got the bus back to school, and we just made it back after the bell. So yeah, I think that period is probably my favourite ever.
Didn't they actually put him on the front of one of the White Dwarfs?
No, he's never been on.
No, okay.
He's never been on the front of an issue of White Dwarf.
No, I think it was. It might have been a Necromunda issue, but it was in that issue. So it's like, oh no, there's a new metal assassin coming. In fact, no, it wasn't. It was when the Imperial Guard were coming out, so it was like in between the Cadian and the Catachans, I think. The Vindicare assassin appeared. So yeah, that's my favourite memory. That little.
You're probably looking at the 170s, 180s.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
Definitely.
What about you, Ben?
So I'm in danger of instantly transforming into Si's old man impression here. Like you should apply the old man filter, and I'll just
day.
I struggled with this question insofar as I feel like I have to separate hobby memories from memories from a particular period of time, because I could say easily favorite hobby memories are, playing with my mates growing up. Like Warhammer is how I met my best friends.
Yeah.
because we were the strange kids who liked toy soldiers, who all hung around and played D&D at lunchtime and stuff, using Warhammer miniatures as
Well, he has said
D&D.
what is your favourite memory or experience you've had that involves the hobby. So,
But I think part of the problem there is it's because it's a particular time of life that rather than it
I
being
suppose.
specifically hobby related, it's making those friends
not a
and
specific
having
memory
that
or experience. Yeah.
that time to just hang out with your mates, you know, Saturday afternoon and play a game of Warhammer because you've got no other commitments, you know, taking up your time. And then I thought about, you know, the time that I worked for the company, and again, you know, that's intrinsically linked to a period in time. It's that period of being like 18, 19 and getting some money in your pocket and getting to go and, you know, work in the company that you feel really passionate about, and then go and hang out and have a beer with them and stuff. And I thought also about like seeing the first Lord of the Rings movie. We all went to the store, me and myself and all the rest of the Manchester
That's
store
cool.
staff. The company paid for us to go and see the Lord of the Rings together, and it was an amazing experience.
Oh, that's really cool.
Oh, it was really cool. They paid for us to go and see all three of the films because we were obviously promoting the game at the time as well. But I think I've managed to pinpoint kind of the favorite hobby memory, and it's I'm lucky enough to have a really good kind of community of kind of gamer mates down here in the kind of the south, guys from the Bristol Gaming Collective and from Bristol Vanguard and from Hate Club in London and from Spiky Club right here in Reading. And we did, about the year before COVID, I think it was 2019, we did an organised weekend at Warhammer World where all of us kind of went up from all the different clubs and just took over Warhammer World for a weekend. And for like the whole weekend, we were there from like mid-Friday afternoon through to late Sunday.
Nice.
And we did stuff like, the rule of the weekend was it has to be Games Workshop. If we're going to Warhammer World, it has to be Games Workshop. So the Friday night, for example, we played D&D in Bugman's, but it was the edition of D&D that Citadel had published when they had the rights to publish it here in the UK. And my friend Sasha was our DM, and we were using classic like 1981, 1982 Citadel miniatures. So we'd all gone away and found on eBay and stuff and on sites the really old classic miniatures that Games Workshop had produced that matched that era, so we could play. Like we're there playing that, and then like Saturday afternoon, there was a whole bunch of people playing like "Oi, that's my leg" and Trolls in the Pantry and stuff. One of the guys had spent like the preceding couple of weeks writing this racing game that they'd basically just invented, and we'd all converted up like weird and wonderful little kind of races for it. I did my Orkira Warboss on bike that I think you guys probably have seen.
Gorkamorka-esque thing then.
Well, kind of, yeah, but the point was it wasn't Orcs Limited. It was literally just, it was a racing game. And the idea was, this was, I think, before Speed Freaks had come out, but it was just us.
It's like Mario Kart, but 40k.
Yes, basically. And I'd converted up, like, we all converted up a whole bunch of little kind of random racers and then took them along. And I ended up playing with a couple of the studio guys, including John Blanche. And I'm here in Warhammer World playing a crazy Warhammer racing game with the guy who's done some of my favorite Warhammer artworks. And the whole weekend was just like that. Every part of it was just a dedicated weekend to enjoying the hobby. And I do think I can top that. I think when I was thinking about it, it's a memory of doing great hobby things, but different hobby things. Like it wasn't a tournament. It wasn't, there wasn't a goal to the weekend aside from have an awesome
pure
hobby
fun.
time.
Yeah, pure exactly. Hobby fun, yeah. No, that's a really good choice, I think. The one that always comes to the top of my head, I'll never forget it, was when I first ever started Warhammer in general. It was I've said about this, I think, last episode about the first mini you remember getting. So my local shop that did it, just this ex-military guy, hardly had anybody really come in Sunday games. And it was me, my friend, his brother on the odd week, and this one other guy that would turn up with Dark Eldar randomly now and again. And me and my friend both had Chaos Space Marines. So it was pretty much just Chaos Space Marines versus Chaos Space Marines most weeks. We were young, we couldn't really afford many models at all. I had 10 Chaos Space Marines and a Chaos Lord, and like 5 metal terminators for maybe a year to 2 years, and we'd go in every weekend, and Steve, his name was, the head of this shop, would just get bored to tears of watching us, half knowing the rules as well, being younger, playing the same stuff against each other for about a year to 2 years. He must have got so bored to tears. And the one day we just set up a normal game like we always would, just to play it. I think all 4 of us were actually there this week. And he just walked through with this dreadnought and just went and just put it in the middle of the table. And obviously, all of us had never even seen a dreadnought because we couldn't afford any of this stuff. So we were just like, oh, okay, what's this? This is different, kind of thing. And we were like, all right, Steve, what are we doing with this? Like, what does this mean? And he just didn't say a word, didn't say an absolute word. He let us carry on with the game. So we must have got about 2 turns in, maybe. And then he just kind of walked back over to the table and he was like, that's dead. He was just like, pulled a unit off the table, came back in turn 4, pulled a different unit off another enemy thing. And he just kept doing, and every time he went in to do it, does anybody ever played Worms, the game?
Yes.
So, it's like, incoming! The whole, like...
I'll get you!
Yeah, so he kept playing he had like an app on his phone, so he kept playing different Worms things every time he came in to do something with his dreadnought. And I'll never forget him doing it because obviously it was just the same thing we did every week, and he completely changed it up for us. So I'll never forget Steve, my old shop owner, for doing that. It was just great fun. No rules to do with the game. He just like completely just changed it up.
I need to dig my 3DS out now and play Worms again.
Yes.
Worms Forts was one of my favourites.
Yeah, the Yorkshire team has me in stitches when you blow up one of the worms. He goes, I'll get yo.
Yeah, they pulled the Northern Voices in there. It was great. Yeah, I used to play that endlessly. The Holy Hand Grenade.
Yep.
Yeah. And the Banana Bomb.
Banana Bomb. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so that would be my my memory.
I'll wear my Banana Bomb t-shirt for the next podcast now.
Yeah, definitely. So let me see if I can find the next one because I've lost my position now. Here we go. So this one's from Reddit. Another one that I've been saving for a few weeks. So by losing money 40k, don't we all? What are your favourite settings for 40k? With so many different settings, do you have a favourite planet / terrain in the setting? We can go back and reverse if you want, and I'll start with this one because I don't know that I've necessarily got like favorite set. I mean, I do love the Necromunda setting. That's just awesome. I know you said that earlier side to me as well.
Yeah,
obviously everybody knows that. Everybody knows that I love crew though. So Planet Peck and all that, and that area of space. I've read tons of stuff on that, and I love the idea of that. But other than that, nothing really specific comes to mind for me. So you guys can kind of take it away. I know there's certain campaign settings and things, but for 40k, I've never really gotten that involved in any of the campaign settings, I wouldn't say, so don't really know much about them. But if we're going in reverse order, Ben, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So for me, I suppose the Gothic sector obviously was an awesome kind of previously explored area of 40k lore. Like, it was marked on maps and stuff, but until Andy Chambers wrote Battlefleet Gothic, then it just never been touched on, and it was really cool to kind of explore. And the book, the Big Blue Book, really did kind of flesh out the background of this whole area of space and contained, a potted history of all the different battles and stuff that were fought. From the role-playing books, the Calixis sector that was kind of detailed in great detail in the Deathwatch RPG novels, that was a really cool kind of setting, and in particular, kind of different things like the idea of having like a vault with an entire, First Company Space Marine chapter sealed away for, an eventual coming danger, like they've been sealed in a stasis vault by order of their chapter master 3,000 years ago, and the First Company are still there, frozen in time, waiting for their eventual release. But the other one for me, actually, is I've got my own sandbox. I invented a sandbox when I was running Dark Heresy. When Dark Heresy, which is the precursor to then kind of the existing 40k Wrath and Ruin role-playing game, Dark Heresy was when Black Library was releasing their own role-playing games rather than kind of farming it out to other companies. They had Black Industries was what they called it. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to be one of the original playtesters for Black Library's kind of foray into role-playing games. And we invented, therefore, our own sandbox for that. And I've basically used that same sandbox for pretty much every campaign I've run for going on like the last decade and a half now. Like, it's got its own narrative. I've run like 40k campaign. I've run 7 separate 40k campaigns.
Much like the Marvel cinematic universe, there's the Beneverse. For,
yeah, basically. Well, it's my own little sector. I've got this little sector of space, the Punic worlds, and it's kind of divided. And I've done, we've played like one summer we played a 40k at Spiky Club. We played a 40k campaign on one planet. I did a whole map for the a hex map for the whole planet, and we just played controlling territories on that. We've done campaign weekends where we've had battles fought over a particular group of like one weekend, for example. We ran there was a cluster of planets called the Blitz worlds contained within the sector, and it was a whole group of worlds that are constantly engaged in like trench warfare and battles and stuff. And we just had battles fought over all these different planets, and each team started off with like one planet and then had to fight over the remaining ones. That was really cool. I've always kind of just kept adding to the narrative for this sector as every kind of campaign's gone on. I think that's one of the things that's great about 40k is it's a big enough space that you can invent your own little pocket, set a sandbox of it, and flesh it out to your heart's content. That's one of the things I love about it.
That's very true. Very true. What about you, Si?
There's 2 really for me. First one I'd say is Necromunda. When I first got the rule book and the source book, and reading about like the Underhive and all these forgotten domes that are just lost and sealed off, containing all these like manufacturing architect finds and all sorts, and just like whole sections of the hive that are just completely hidden and sealed off, and then the sump as well and stuff like that, and just the whole industrial vibe. I just thought it was brilliant, and I still think Necromunda is a great setting, especially now they've expanded out of the hive and they've gone into the ash waste. So there's that one for me, and then also Armageddon as well. Probably because when I was first getting into the hobby, I was reading about the first war for Armageddon, then the second war for Armageddon, then the third one. And I still think it's going to have a massive part to play. But the fact that it was also, spoiler alert, not always called Armageddon. If you've read the Beast, is it the Beast series? I think it is
the Beast series. Yeah, it's not actually stated in there. It's just very, very, very heavily implied.
Yeah. So I'll not give it away, but it was once a very important world in the Horus Heresy, and then it was renamed as Armageddon and moved, maybe. But yeah, there's loads of lore about Armageddon and what the Inquisition did to the people, and it pissed off the space wolves, and I think there's a lot of stories to tell. And there's still orcs roaming around in the jungle from the first war, which I think is awesome. And apparently a Titan buried under the sands of Armageddon as well, an Emperor-class Titan.
Well, and Armageddon, you got stories like Helmut von Straub, like the Imperial governor turning traitor and essentially going full-on Quisling with the orcs.
Yeah, and then we've got the Steel Legion, we've got the orc aerial wars and stuff like that against the Imperium.
The story of Hell's Reach, Captain Tycho.
Such a massive... Yeah, Tycho was basically hit by the Weird Boy there and cemented into the lore, wasn't he?
Yeah.
To be fair, when you just brought to my mind...
a massive big sandbox, I love it. Pardon?
What's the planet called that Gorkamorka's on?
Angelus. I nearly said that, for a laugh.
Yeah, that has to probably be another one for me. Because especially when we had the suggestion for the boys came up on the one of the 20 questions, and I read even more into it again, and I do love that setting.
Angelus is pretty cool.
There's a whole story behind it.
I've got a bit of a soft spot for Persona 4 as well, because I just remember it being part of a massive campaign. Scout Sergeant Naman, you remember that miniature?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I say Necromunda, I agree with you on that one side. It's like Mega City from Judge Dredd taken to the 1,000,000th degree.
Yeah.
Like it's if you were to take Mega City 1 and then come back to it 10,000, 20,000 years later, that's the kind of thing you'd have. It is that 2000 AD groovy narrative, but taken to 1,000,000 times over the top.
Indeed. We'll move on to another question though. So Espon82, thank you, buddy, for another question. Says Tanity Recaf Fungus Brew Bugman's beer. What do we think others in the 40k universe or mortal realms relax with on a Friday night? but on a more unrelated note, what are people's drinks of choice? Doesn't have to be alcoholic.
Should we go this way
There you
around
go.
again then?
Yeah, go for it.
Coffee for me. That's it makes the world go round as far as I'm concerned. They say that life can't exist without water, and that's because water is used to make coffee, and without coffee, you will all die. That's pretty much the end of it. Yeah, no, I think I do love my coffee. I don't really drink. If I do go out, we go to a restaurant, I might have a couple of glasses of wine or whatever, but I don't sit at home. I'm not one of these people that polishes a bottle of wine off every night or anything like that. Or sometimes, I mean, each to their own, but people say, "Oh God, I can't wait to get home from work and open a bottle of wine." I'm like, no,
Yeah,
can't wait to get home and have a brew because I'm just sad like that. And then the 40k question: what do people, what do people in the 40k universe drink? One of the funny ones I thought of, you have corpse starch on Necromunda. Ben, you might know the answer to this. Is there a liquid equivalent, like some drippings or something?
I was going to say like a Necromunda version of Bovril, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, like sump stew or something like that.
I suppose if it's badly made corpse
Well, actually, no,
or just
White
like
Snake.
badly generated.
Oh yeah, White Snake. God, yeah.
Yeah, because they literally, you could in the original version of the game, you could buy it in the trading outpost. Blind Snake it's something like that. It's a snake-based
like that,
drink.
yeah.
It's
You can give it your
fermented
gang,
snake venom. Yeah, no, there is a Necromunda-based version.
Yeah, and then I'm sure the Eldar have got some sort of fancy drink, and then the Red Corsairs, God knows what they drink, tears of their enemies or something like that. But yeah, for me, in real life,
a lot of kind of meme responses here. To be fair,
it's all about coffee. I do like port though. I'm partial to a bit of port.
What about you, Ben? Any ideas? And what do you drink?
Funny enough, I pretty much subsist on Diet Coke. This is not product placement, I promise, but I pretty much subsist
I don't drink fizzy pop
on Diet Coke. No, I've always been kind of like sugar-free colas or Diet Colas. That's kind of been my go-to since I was a wee nepper. And Vimto. That's what I was drinking at the start of this recording, was a pint of Vimto. In terms of alcohol, I don't say no to the occasional pint of cider, but it's, again, I'm not, I mean, you say, I'm not a big drinker. It's more of a social thing. If I'm going out with a friend to a pub or something, maybe I'll have a drink, but I don't really drink at home unless it's a special occasion. Beyond that, I mean, I like a bottle of port. Mead, obviously.
Yeah.
And actually, mead and port mixed together is extremely tasty.
Interesting.
You have to get the proportions right. It's about 1 part port to about 6 parts mead. Otherwise, the port just drowns the mead out. But yeah, that's a very tasty little number. In terms of drinks from the 40k universe, I've got to go with this, one of my favourite ones from the lore, Mjod. The fact that Space Wolves basically drink like a fermented version of petrol. Like, Mjod is literally like 1,000% proof, and the Space Wolves are one of the only chapters who approached the Space Marines' ability to filter out toxins as a challenge rather than a boon. Like,
poison organ, I'll beat you.
That's it. We have been genetically engineered to be immune to poison. So now we're going to have, all this means is we're going to have to make a better beer. And I love the idea that the Space Wolves literally drink something that would kill a normal mortal. Like a normal mortal, if it was offered even a sniff of it, they'd pass out and need, immediate medical treatment, because it's that, never mind turn you blind, it will melt your eyeballs. Wild Snake, incidentally, is the Necromunda drink. I just looked it up.
Okay. There you go then. I'm a tea drinker, so like similar reasons for what Si said. I couldn't live without tea.
I start every podcast with a cup of tea.
Yeah, same. So it's just my caffeine boost every day, especially in the winter. But I don't know in terms of like Warhammer Universe, really, in terms of drinks. I suppose you could say Blood Angels with the current way that the minis are going from GW with the fangs and whatnot. It's a glass of blood on a Friday night.
Stupid.
According to them. But yeah, I don't know really. I'm sure there's multiple different things for each faction, aren't there? So you can go on forever about it.
From Bloodbowl was, if you've ever read any of the Bloodbowl novels, all the different variants of drinks that they have. Like, well, obviously there's Bloodweiser, which is the famous one, but there's things like Killer Genuine Draft.
I was just going to say there's a Miller one, isn't there? Yeah,
There is Killer Genuine Draft. I'm sure there's a whole bunch more. Like, I'm fairly sure when they did the one when they go to Albion to play in the Far Albion League, they go
you should
through
have one
pretty
called
much.
Skull instead of Skull.
They probably do, but yeah, they literally. I haven't read those books in years, but I'm fairly sure when they go to Albion to play in the Far Albion League or the FA Cup, they go through basically all the various British beers and just come up with Warhammer names for them.
I was going to say, I wonder what the Emperor drinks, but not much nowadays. Probably something to a shippy straw.
Psychers.
Drinks this, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right, we've got one more last one, guys, which we'll fire through from Relatively Fun on Reddit. Saw the recent preview revealed some MDF-style terrain for a starter kill team box set coming soon. Got me and our local group thinking, could this be a sign of things to come for not just kill team? Obviously, we've touched on this already. But Ben, you've been in the middle the whole time, so let's go with you first on this one. And I know you were excited to chat about it.
I really hope so. I really, really hope so. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a load of the plastic terrain. Like the Necromunda terrain is some of the best scenery, period, that Games Workshop have pumped out. The fact that it's all modular and interconnects to each other shows the person behind it is just a genius. That being said, I have a huge fondness in my heart for cardstock scenery. I don't believe we're ever going to get cardstock scenery again. But this pre-painted MDF scenery could be the perfect middle ground. Can you imagine, Games Workshop, if you're listening, something like the Imperial Firebase or like the Battle Bunker that they released in cardstock back during 2nd edition, released again as pre-painted MDF clipped together scenery? I would take my money. I'd just be there throwing cash at Games Workshop if they gave me that classic scenery re-released in a kind of a more durable pre-painted format. I would just lose my mind if they did.
Well,
that.
they could do castle walls for Old World and stuff like that as well, couldn't they?
I'm hoping that we still get the Mighty Fortress back. But equally, again, look at all the cardstock scenery that they used to do. The towns, the villages, and stuff like that. Imagine that being released as pre-painted, clipped together MDF. Just shut up and take my money.
Yeah.
Well, it's the sort of thing I would rather have had in the new Kill Team set for the terrain that you have to build and paint to kind of use, because you have to drop it down before you drop your kill teams and things as part of the game. I'd rather have had stuff like that because I never have time to build and paint all the scenery for these games that you kind of need as part of it now. So for some of the smaller games like Kill Team, I'm more than happy to have. I mean, maybe then, like you say, one-off sets for the bigger games for people who want it. Like, even if it's limited, I'm sure people like yourself will pick it up day one. So I can see them doing that.
It would sell out, put it that way. If they released it, it would sell out.
Shall I tell you what the MDF terrain would be perfect for?
Go on.
Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if you remember the original Space Marine game, we had those tower block buildings that were card with the plastic tops. Because Epic scale terrain is smaller, you could get away with more with MDF. You could do all sorts of skyscrapers. You could do manufactorums, hangars, landing pads.
Did they do cardboard for Titanicus?
Pardon?
Did they do cardboard building terrain for Titanicus when that set came out?
No. Plastic, wasn't it?
Was it plastic?
Yeah, you got a set of assets in the box. So there's like a little radar station, a little.
Okay, I must be thinking of something else. I think somebody must have done a custom table when I'd seen it.
But they did the Civitas Industrial and the Civitas City and the Civitas Spires, which you can still get now for Legions Imperialis. But MDF terrain for Epic would be absolutely ideal. And if they wanted to test it on a game system, that could be a way of doing it, especially pre-printed as well, or pre-painted. I think it's printed, isn't it, onto MDF, coated and printed, I would imagine.
That's a really good shout, so to be fair, because it's one of them things. Like I say, if I wanted to get into Imperialis, I've got to get the minis, but I've also got to get that scale terrain. I don't own any of that sort of terrain.
Yeah, you need a fair bit of terrain for Epic as well. I mean, I'm quite lucky. I bought a lot for Titanicus and I've painted it. So once I get these minis done, I've got the industrial terrain all done. The bases are done. So it might be the first time ever I'll have the terrain and an army painted in
that would actually
30 odd years.
It would actually be something that would possibly get me to jump into it easier, because then, like I say, it saves me the time of the terrain. You've got it there, built, it's painted.
Yeah, I mean, if this Kill Team starter set sells well with the MDF terrain, I hope Games Workshop really do have a think about it and think, you know what, it's quite cheap to produce this MDF stuff. We could do it for Epic. We could do it for Old World. We could do it for God knows what else.
It would fill a role. It would have a role. It wouldn't replace some of the like plastic scenery that they've used. The Civitas Imperialis stuff for Titanicus is really nice stuff, but it would play a role that would give like you say, someone starting out in the game.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going to be big.
Made stuff.
Yeah, and
which
you could just
can
do
then
like
be supplemented by adding to it.
ruined buildings in MDF. So you could have your nice centerpiece stuff, then just do the odd ruined buildings or like ruined walls and stuff like that.
I can see it for Underworlds as well. We've just been speaking about that because they used to release like the lethals and hexes and stuff. They actually did 3D plastic pieces for them. But I can see them doing some sort of cardboard stuff now.
Like Warcry and stuff. If Warcry is indeed still a thing, Warcry would benefit massively from this.
Or the next Warhammer Quest
next year
game.
Yeah,
could have MDF terrain.
Warhammer Quest. I could see that as well.
Actually, at that point, you could replace some of the card tiles and stuff with MDF instead. It's more durable.
Yeah, but yeah, interesting. We'll have to wait and see how that develops, I suppose, and what they do with it. But that is our community questions for this week. Thanks, guys, for sending yours in. You can jump onto our Discord channel. We've got a channel section there where you can post in your own. You can leave comments below the video. We'll add them into the next episode, the next show, and answer them for you. And over on Reddit, I get plenty over there as well. But I think I do have, guys, a 20 questions for you to end the show on, if we'd like to give that a whirl.
Let's do this.
I'm ramping it up again. I'm testing you this week. So
a bit rusty.
Yeah, indeed. So Idren Art, we've had on before. He sent in multiple suggestions quite a while back, so I've taken another one of his. For any of you who are listening or are new to the game, it's essentially 20 questions, but in the world of Warhammer. The guys have to narrow down who or what it is from the Warhammer universe that I have in my head, that you guys have sent suggestions in for. They get 19 questions. The 20th has to be their guess, unless they get it sooner than that. Yes or no questions. And I can literally only answer yes or no. So
who sent this one in again? Sorry,
his name is Idren Art.
What was his question last time?
I can't remember because I've deleted it off my list.
Okay.
I'll try and remember whilst we're playing.
I'm just trying to get into the mindset. You see,
I know what it was. It was the Digger Boys, ironically.
Okay,
digging on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what it was. I'm not
We'll
going to say
follow your
that's...
instincts, Si.
Yeah,
last
Si,
time I steered
you're
you
on to
massively
something
wrong.
there.
Yeah, I
Alright.
clutched it, didn't I?
Yeah, no.
In fact,
So
because I guessed it early on, didn't I? And he struggled to keep a straight face.
You did.
So that is the idea behind the game, guys. And he sent in another one. So, well, it could be he or she. I don't know. To be fair, it's only a username. So, let the questioning begin.
Well, you usually go first, Si. You're in the top corner.
Right. Okay.
Is he going with Old Faithful or?
Oh, to hell with it. Do you reside in the 41st millennium?
No, I do not reside in the 41st millennium.
Should have gone for Old World. Oh,
Well,
the
hang
world
on.
that was.
It could be the world that was. It could be Age of Sigmar, though. We don't know yet. So, do you reside in the Old World?
Nope. That's
Okay.
two.
Presumably that leaves Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. Do you reside in the Mortal Realms?
No, that's three.
So a world that was then, or Blood Bowl, maybe.
Well, the Old World is the world that was. We've ruled that out. So it could be Blood Bowl. Well, the Blood Bowl is the Old World. Blood Bowl is the Old World.
Yeah, kind of.
It is set in the old world that was, just a bit different version of it. It's not the Mortal Realms. We didn't rule out the 31st millennium. It is a character that is only in Horus Heresy.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Do you reside in a science fiction setting?
Yes, that's four.
Okay, so it's probably 30k.
Are you a loyalist that wears power armor?
Ooh.
No, that's five.
Okay, so the thing is, that question means he's not a loyalist who wears power armor, but he could be a loyalist who doesn't wear power armor.
Or it could be a traitor that wears power armor.
Or he could be a traitor that doesn't wear power armor. There's still quite a few options there. Okay, let's rule out a few big name characters, really. Are you a Primarch?
No,
Okay, so we can rule those
that
out.
was 6, I believe.
Are you a space marine?
I'm not a space marine. No, 7.
Oh, Lord.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, but it could be Corferon.
Well, yeah, he is
It wasn't
technically
technically a
Corsair
space
is
marine.
any of the demons from 30k. Although, to
Yeah,
be fair, the
we're
demon
talking like it could be Kelbor Hal. It could be
can't be a demon because the demons were still technically around in the 41st millennium because they're immortal. So we can rule out demons. But yeah, it could be still quite a few other characters.
Is your question next, Ben? Is it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. This is question 8.
Are you a member of the Mechanicum?
It's not Mechanicum.
Okay, so it's not a space marine, but we still don't know if it's loyalist or traitor because I specifically asked loyalist in power armor earlier.
yeah.
Yeah. So your own question, that was... Did you ask that one, Si, didn't you? That last one?
No,
Or
I
is that
asked
you, Ben?
Mechanicum.
No, he asked it.
So it's yours next, Si. So this is question 9.
Are you human?
No. That's 9.
Oh, bloody hell. Okay, hang on. Non-human, resides in the 31st millennium. Well, that's really awkward. Because, again, most of the aliens that are featured...
We got bleed. Is John Grammaticus considered a human, or is it perpetual? Isn't it?
The perpetuals are still human. They start their
Yeah.
born human now.
Like Men of Iron and stuff like that.
I think, yeah, again, the Men of Iron...
They weren't 31st millennium, were they?
yeah, they're gone by the 31st millennium. Or
Yeah.
at least they're in hiding, the few that remain, or, frozen in stasis vaults and what have you. And again, if it was like a character like a Necron or something, yes, technically they'd be around in the 31st millennium, but they'd also be around in the 41st millennium, unless they were exterminated early.
Wow, what we're missing? That's.
I mean, if it's like an Eldar or something, the only few Eldar characters that featured were also still alive by the time of the like Eldar Ulthran.
Yeah, Eldrad Ulthran, and I think it could be a vehicle.
Do you have tracks?
I do. There we go.
All right, okay.
That's
So
question
there's
10.
only like 850 track vehicles from the
I was gonna
31st millennium.
There's just a few. Games Workshop Forge World were fairly prolific in terms of creating variants and.
Oh god.
Okay, let's think about it. There's transport vehicles. There's line battle tanks. So we can work out whether or not it's a transport.
So it's not going to be a Lehman Russ, is it? Because they're still around in the 41st millennium.
That's true. Well, yeah, actually, it has to be. That is a very good point because all of them pretty much have a relic.
Yeah, it's going to be something specific to the 31st millennium track vehicle wise.
Or Luke's misled us accidentally.
They're definitely not used in the 41st millennium. I have the info up here.
Okay.
This tank is not used in the 41st millennium.
At all.
Not according to this, no.
So what's the Solar Auxilia tank? Is this a tank used by the Space Marine Legions?
It is. So that's 11.
Okay. Is this a currently available kit?
Is it your question, Ben, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, it is, yeah. 12, yeah. Yes, it is available.
Let's try and narrow it down, Si, based on types of tank. So, for example, is it a transport tank? Is it not? Because if it's got a transport capacity, that instantly rules out things like Predators, the Sicaran. There's a whole host of tanks that we know that it can't be. If it doesn't have a transport, then we can rule out things like the Rhino, the Mastodon.
Yeah, is it my question?
It is, apparently.
Is this a type of transport tank?
Okay.
So no, Si, it's not a transport. Ben, you're on question 14.
Okay, we need to try and narrow it down as to whether it's...
If you have any other questions about the rules, I've got the data sheet now, so...
Cool. If we can try and narrow it down to whether it's one of the more obvious chassis, like the Sicaran or the Predator...
Yeah, that's not a bad shout, to be fair.
Okay. If we can rule those out, then at least we then know we're just fishing amongst the more esoteric, super heavy style tanks.
Not every variant on.
There's so many flipping variants. Are you a Predator type tank?
No, I'm not. 14.
Okay.
So sorry, you're 15.
Oh, sugar, sugar, sugar. Right, hang on.
The Sikaran is the next most common chassis.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rule it out. Are you based on the Sakaran chassis?
No, not
God,
Scotland.
okay, that means
So
we're
we're
left
talking
with
like the Typhon
Kratos,
or the one with the big
Elfrid,
laser
Typhon.
destructor.
Yeah,
So that was 15. So Ben, you'd be 16 now.
I asked if it had tracks.
Yeah, it definitely has tracks.
The Falcon.
Oh, do you know what, Ben? It could be the bloody Arquiter. It could be the Glaive.
Is this a purely plastic kit?
Checking now for you. Saying resin. So
Pardon?
it's saying resin. So
It's saying resin. Okay.
Yeah.
Not plastic at all.
No.
Okay, that narrows it down, hopefully considerably. I mean, it still leaves the possibility of it being your.
Well, I mean, if
your
you're
little
asking
rapier kit.
the Horus Heresy model that's on the store, yeah.
Okay, so that means we can rule out things like the Scorpius.
Oh,
side.
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
We could ask if this tank is available in epic scale.
Ooh, that is a good idea. Let's have a quick look at the.
Sorry, caught
because-
on to what I was saying there. Well done.
Yeah, I did.
Let's have a quick look at
Because-
other games.
The rapier you can get in epic scale in plastic, but for the Horus Heresy, it's resin.
And we know now that it is resin only.
Is this particular thing available for the Space Marines in Legions Imperialis?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I
Because
was hoping you'd get onto that question.
It's
'cause
not the
that will
termite.
narrow it down.
It's not
Can't
that
be the
transport.
termite.
It's not the termite. It's not the
The
Kratos.
the Saber in 40k is a resin only kit, and it is available in Horus in Legions Imperialis.
The Saber.
Yeah.
Is that not based on the Sikaran chassis though?
No, not quite.
Well, do you know what, Ben? If it's available in Legions Imperialis, it's either going to be the Saber or the Rapier.
What I was going to ask was, are you named after a type of sword?
Oh, do that then. Do that. I actually.
Because
Saber and
but
Rapier
Rapier
are
and
both
Sapier
fine.
are both named after swords, so it doesn't help in that regard.
No, don't do that.
Does it have crew inside it?
So I believe it's crude, yeah.
Okay.
It's got to be the Saber. I'm sure it's got to be the Saber. I can't.
One question and a guess. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else that we could ask that could narrow it down.
If I was to put the word light in front of it, would it be something off Star Wars?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go for it,
Away.
Si.
I love how that was your 19th question to get this. That's crazy.
Is
Go on,
this
Ben.
the
You
Saber strike tank?
It is indeed the Saber Strike
my
tank.
God.
How the hell you guys got that one?
Undefeated.
That
But
was
my
hard.
lord, that
You
was
struggled
hard.
with that, but
That was the
fair
hardest
play.
one ever.
There are so many tanks in
I-
Horus Heresy.
I thought I was going to beat you with that. I've got to be honest. So well done.
I thought
Yeah.
you were going to beat us.
This is why I've been painting Epic this week. That's definitely helped. Otherwise, I would have
That-
not even thought
If
of
you
that
hadn't have
question.
asked that Imperialis question, I'm not sure you'd have got that.
No, it was having that cross reference to
Yeah.
because there are a few tanks that are still only available in resin.
So
in-
basically, it made me laugh when you asked about the transport question because it's technically a Rhino chassis. Is what they
What?
based the set. Yeah. So the Saber
That's a
Strike
Rhino?
tank during
Oh,
the Great
It's a Sikaran
Crusade.
chassis.
No, they based it off a Rhino chassis. So they turned
Did they?
Rhino chassis into strike tanks during the Great Crusade and then used during the Heresy. And they basically just outfitted Rhinos for them to be like hit and run. So to blast things to bits and speed away.
Where have you read that? It looks like a Sikaran.
Yeah, it
No,
looks
so
they
it came
played a
al-
little hole with
It was
Sakaran
they were
tanks.
deployed alongside Sakaran tanks supposedly.
Okay.
But apparently, yeah, it's saying Rhino chassis is what they're originally based on. But
How
so
bizarre.
at least that's what it's
well.
saying.
Undefeated.
Yeah.
Undefeated. We'll take it. We'll take it. Undefeated.
Exactly. That was hard.
So that was Idran Art. Thanks for that. We've not really had, I don't think,
No.
many tank based questions, and especially with it being Heresy, it's a difficult one. But yeah, it's an Imperial attack vehicle based on the Rhino armored carrier.
There's
Interesting.
definitely some panic setting in then, for sure.
Just a tad.
Yeah. So, but well done, guys. You got it. If any of you listening, watching, would like to send in your Warhammer 20 questions to try and beat the guys, they are still
Tanks
beaten
apparently
there, so-
is one of the ways to do it.
Yeah, don't.
But yeah, so thanks, guys, and make sure to send me in your suggestions for the guys. But we'll end it there because it's ended up being a late one for us here. They took the time over that one because it was a tough one. But it's the close ones that we like the most, so they make for good listening. So we'll wrap it up there, guys. Where can we find? We'll start with you, Ben. You're at the bottom. Where can we find you, bud?
You can find me over on my channel, which is, as you can see at the bottom there, 90% Geek. I am also on Blue Sky using 90% Geek. And on Instagram, you can catch me there as well, where I occasionally post pictures. And, of course, I'm generally be found commenting on the Morehammer Discord. Make sure you come and join me there.
Si?
Just to echo Ben's point about the Discord, do come along and have a chat with us on there. You can find me on my own channel, Hobby Waffle. I'm always making videos on there, or trying to anyway. And then Instagram, I post pictures of miniatures, but Blue Sky at the minute is the place to be. Everybody is joining again, or everyone's joining from Twitter. And like someone said on there, it's like having your save game that you've been playing for years deleted and you're having to start again. So everybody's going on Blue Sky and posting up pictures of old miniatures or favorite miniatures. And it's really cool. So there's lots of good stuff on there. I'm posting loads of pictures on there. So definitely get on there because it's pretty good. So yeah, find me on Blue Sky, same as Twitter and Instagram. So at Hobby Waffle, really. Nice. That's where you shall find me.
I think the save game metaphor is quite good. It's more like we've reinstalled from an earlier save point, and it's like it used to be on Hobby Twitter back when it was Twitter.
Yeah, we've prestiged and we're starting again.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll be the same. Wargaming Luke across socials, not on X. You can find me in the skies also. I will be there. But also a lot on the Discord nowadays. I love our Discord channel. It's a nice little community to have a chat with your hobby updates and whatnot. But thanks, guys, for watching / listening. And until next time, as always, happy wargaming.
Bye.